Hey everyone, it's Dominic the Primetime Treasure Hunter. Thanks for coming by to check out another video. I hope you all had a chance to check out the live show last night. It was the 1-year anniversary celebration for this channel. We had lots of fun, lots of laughs, lots of giveaways. So congratulations to all who won. Thanks for those who threw in the first ever super chats, as this channel was recently monetized. So appreciate all the love. Thank you very, very much. If you have not had a chance to check it out, it's right here. Check out the video, especially if you're brand new to the channel. It'll give you a sense of the type of community that I'm trying to build out there for resellers. So not only here, but also in different aspects of social media, such as Facebook and also Instagram. For Instagram, I'm at prime_time_treasure. So follow me there. And also in the Facebook group, we're almost at 5,000 members. It's called the Facebook Reselling Resource Center. So the description section down below has the links to all those areas. Come check it out. Now, for those of you who checked it out and are members and follow me there, you know that about a half an hour before the live show last night, I posted what was the most expensive and profitable sale that I have ever made on eBay. And I talked about it a little bit in the live show, but there were a lot of questions that I had that I haven't had a chance to fully answer yet and go into detail. Lots of people were asking me, for example, on Facebook and Instagram, especially people who are like real hardcore Magic the Gathering players, and also people who also flip. So a lot of people who play Magic and also do reselling, how the heck I found what I'm going to show you in a minute. So as you can tell, it's something that's Magic the Gathering related. So I'll do an intro about that. I'm going to talk to you about obviously what it sold for. I'm going to tell you how I sourced it. I'm going to tell you also why I felt comfortable turning down multiple offers in the $500 range for the item. So I'll talk to you about how I priced it, how I comped it, and I'm also going to give you some information about if you come across these types of items in the wild. They're rare to find, but if you do find them, how to gather some information about it so you could do a little bit of research yourself on them. So let me take you through it here. This is what I found. This is a box of Magic the Gathering cards, and it's very specific in terms of what it is. You'll see it has the name Mirage on it. That's the name of an expansion set for the series, so you could continue to play the game. This one came out in 1996. The series itself, Magic the Gathering, in terms of the game, started in 1993. So this one came out several years afterwards. And these early sets, these early decks that are within the sets, they are hard to find because they did not make as many of them back then as they did now. Nowadays, like if we take, for example, the time frame between 2008 and 2016, there have been 20 billion Magic the Gathering cards made. So there's a lot of bulk cards out there, and Dave Niebling asked a question in my Facebook group last night in terms of, are all these Magic the Gathering cards valuable? Do they all have some degree of value? Well, yes, technically they all do, but some are worth very, very little because, again, some of them have been produced in massive amounts. So it depends on the card's rarity. It also depends on how old the card is as well. And so these older sets, these ones from 1996, 1995, that kind of era, those are the sets that are really the ones that where you could have things in there worth a lot of money, and especially if you have a whole box filled with these cards, you really could be in the money with these. So in terms of if you're completely brand new and have absolutely no clue what Magic the Gathering is, it is a role-playing game where there are these cards. I'll show you them right over here. This is a broader view of them. So let me make this a little bigger. So you can see there's some loose cards in here. This is not a box where every single deck in here. See these ones here in the middle, these are the decks. Now 8 of those are sealed decks and 3 of them are not. So 8 of them have some plastic around it. Like you could see, this one right here on the lower left it's shiny, has some plastic around, so it's never been open. That's really appealing to collectors because they think that there's a chance they might find, like there's a certain card in there, for example, it's worth about $150. You know, and there could be one of those in there, and you know, it could be more than one maybe in there. So you know, they're curious about getting those. But there's all these different cards in there. And basically these cards get played in terms of wizard battles, and it's basically wizards battling against opponents, and they fight in different lands, and each card has certain characteristics in terms of certain powers that people could get, characters could get in the game. So you use these to kind of defeat your opponent over time, and to continue to play the game so that it doesn't continuously get boring playing the same storyline over and over. They continuously expand the game every year with these expansion sets, and so this is one of them. Again, it's the Mirage one, and it's hard to find. Now when I open it up, you can see here, you know, some of them are you know, obviously loose. There's some instruction booklets in there as well, and you could also see the box has been opened obviously and has sustained I'd say a mild level overall of some damage to it, but just having the original box anyway is something that's also very appealing to collectors. So you could see that there's the box. Now, this was not the only thing that I found there. Not the only thing that I found there, and you're probably wondering where. So some people have asked me, like I talked to the Vintage Flipper today, who I definitely want to get on this channel next year for an interview. There's going to be lots of interviews on this channel next year, so get prepared for that. But he said, you know, yeah, I really, because he knows I do a lot of estate sales, and he said, you know, I really need to get out to estate sales more. And that may be true, but that's not where I found this. I did not find this in the traditional place, and that's one of the things I like to do on this channel, is I like to teach you about ways to think outside the box with things, how to think differently, so you could get things that other people will not have a chance to get near you. So what I do, and I've done a video on this before and I've talked about it a little bit, but I'm going to show it to you here, is I have multiple Craigslist ads set up, and each of them are designed to look for different things that I'm trying to get. So for example, I have a Craigslist ad out there which I'm searching specifically for Funko Pops. And then I have another one out there where I tell people I'm specifically looking for comic books. And I'll mention some other things within the ad that I'm looking for. But one of the things that I also thought that I needed to do is come up with one in which I'm specifically, I'll show it to you here. This is my ad. This is my ad in Syracuse. And interestingly enough, Syracuse is where the headquarters is for TCG Player, which has, you know, a major role obviously in Magic the Gathering. So I'll show you that a little bit later. But so this is my ad, and it's showing that what I'm looking for are partial estate contents. And you can see one of the things I like to do, if you follow me on social media, is I like to create these eye-catching ads that grab attention. And so I do that a lot with my promotional materials. And this is just another example of it. So what I did is I basically just came up with the idea of taking a wanted sign and then filling it with all sorts of vintage collectibles that I'm looking for. So this is a very generic ad. And it's interesting because the place that I'm going to tell you where I sourced this looked very much like what you see in this ad. And no, it's not a storage unit, if that's what you're thinking. It's not that. It's not anything traditional. So what it says, before I tell you where I found it, it says, because this is the ad the person responded to me for where I wound up getting the cards. It says, I'm interested in purchasing partial estate contents if you're trying to downsize for yourself or a loved one. The reason I say partial, and what do I mean by that? I am not going to go in and liquidate someone's entire home. I cannot physically do that. It's impossible. I don't have the space. I don't have the manpower to do that. But I am willing to go in and pick through things and find things that I want and help someone downsize with at least some items. So I could take away, for example, several truckloads worth of stuff. Now, I tell people what I'm particularly interested in. So particular areas of interest include old books, especially science fiction and fantasy, comic books, collectibles of all varieties and sorts, toys, antiques, advertising items, signs, vintage household items, vintage clothes, so t-shirts from the 80s would be an example, and any other interesting collection or collections. Now, why did I say that? Just so you know, Craigslist is very finicky. They will not only search for the terms that are literally in the description section like this, as well as what's in the title. So if you put in the word collection and you're searching for the word collection, and you don't put in collections with an S, it won't bring it up. So I've learned that over time. When I'm looking for comic books, there's a difference what will show up if you type in comic into Craigslist versus comics. So that plural is very, very important. So that's why I have it in my ad, to make sure I cover anyone who's trying to do a search with different terms. So that's why it says that. Now it says no furniture or, sorry, the screen's kind of freezing up there for a second, but it says no furniture or single large pieces are taken at this time. The majority of the items cannot be significantly damaged or of poor quality. In other words, if all you have is generally garbage, don't call me over. And then there's some things down there about payment and what areas that I serve, that sort of thing. So I got an email from somebody who told me that they had a lot of stuff in a trailer that they wanted to get rid of. I'll tell you the backstory about it in just a second. So I said, okay, could you send me some pictures? So he said, all right, I'll send you some pictures. And that's important to try to get pictures because, you know, it gives me at least some sense the person actually has what they're claiming. And two, gives me a sense to kind of look it over. Now, the pictures he sent me back, again, it was hard to kind of figure out exactly what was in there. There were lots of boxes, lots of blue bins exactly like this. You know, and lots of boxes just like that. And everything was just piled up, packed up. And what turns out is that this person worked for Got Junk. And if you don't know, Got Junk is a company where they will go in and they will basically help people who have just tons of stuff that are just filled up in a house. Either maybe someone passed away or someone's hoarding, and they'll go in and they'll get paid you know, through a contract to go in and basically take the stuff out, either throw it in a dump or donate it or do whatever they want with it. And so based on this contract, what the person is allowed to do is if he finds anything that he thinks he wants to keep, he could hold on to it. They don't care. All they care is they want to get rid of it. So whatever he does with it, it's up to him. So over the years, he kept finding anything he found was interesting. He'd take it, put it aside, throw it in the trailer. Take it aside, throw it in the trailer. Well, eventually his trailer wound up getting filled up, and his wife told him, listen, you got to start clearing stuff out of this trailer because we need room for some other things. And so he did a search on Craigslist and he found my ad and he reached out to me. Now, I will tell you that it was a big challenge actually connecting with this person to make a date that worked to get over there. And the time of year that I went over there was winter time and it was freezing. And so this was an outdoor trailer. I got there, it was in the back in the middle of nowhere. In a very industrial location. He opened the trailer, seemed like a nice guy. I mean, we talked, I went in there, and he just let me have at it. He's like, whatever you find, he goes, you know, we'll talk about it afterwards. And he goes, I'm not trying to get a lot of money for this stuff. I really just want to liquidate it and get it out. So I said, okay. So as soon as I get in, I look to the left and I see one of these blue totes. And in the blue, outside the blue tote actually, it says Magic the Gathering cards. And I said to myself, you got to be kidding me, because as many of you know, I am very, very interested in comic books, and there is an overlap between people who like comic books and who like these types of role-playing games. So I know of it through that. I actually don't play Magic the Gathering. I probably would like it if I did play it, but I know enough about it just through my comic book collection involvement that I know in general types of things to look for. And I knew that these were old sets and old decks. So for those of you who still stuck around to this video so far, let me tell you some of the things that were in this box. And even if you don't know about Magic the Gathering, still stick with this part because I'm going to tell you what I sold each of these things for. And then later I'll tell you how much I got it all for. So what I found in there was a sealed 4th edition booster box. Sold that within 24 hours for $285. I got the Fallen Empires box, sealed. 2 of them. Sold one for $142.50 within days. Then put the next one up and sold it for $150. I also got the Homelands booster box and wound up selling that for $175. And I also got 8 decks of the Ice Age series. These are all these, by the way, when I say 4th edition, all these sets I'm saying, these are all early sets. So the Ice Age decks, so this was not a box, these are just individual decks of cards opened, sold them for $142.50. So Total right there is $900. That does not even include this, which I found in the same box, which sold for $725. So that is a total of $1,620 just in the Magic the Gathering cards alone. Now, I literally filled up my entire trunk with tons of other collectibles besides just the Magic the Gathering cards. When I went to check out and I asked the guy, how much do you want for everything? He looked at me and he said, I really, like I said, he goes, I'm not interested in making a lot of money off this. He goes, I don't know. He goes, just give me 50 bucks. I said, are you serious? 50 bucks? He goes, yep. He goes, 50 bucks. He goes, that's fine. He goes, I don't care. Again, my interest isn't really in the value. My interest is just getting rid of it. So for him, the value was not anything monetary. For him, the value was just clearing the space up. And so if he's fine with the $50, I'm fine giving him the $50, gave him the $50, and you know, within 24 hours, made it all back by selling that first deck for 285 bucks. So this was just an absolutely killer, epic score. It was just, it was terrific. So these types of ads can be really, really lucrative. You've got to be careful. You want to check out my video on how not to get killed on Craigslist. That's literally the name of it. So go see the one where it shows Leatherface pulling someone into a house, just to be dramatic there, just to show, you know, you don't want to get killed out there. You got to be careful. You got to take a lot of steps to be safe. And there certainly are a lot of people who reach out to me that I don't want to do any type of business with because they've either been arrested, they have a history of violent crime. There's all sorts of things. You've got to look into their backgrounds as much as you can. So fortunately, this person, I checked them out ahead of time, and everything was legit. He worked in a business right behind where the trailer was, and you know, he didn't have any kind of bad rap sheet or anything like that. So it all worked out. That's why I felt comfortable walking into that trailer to begin with. And always, safety tip, always let people know where you are going so that if anything did happen, you have people who know where to find you, so you don't get stuck somewhere. Anyway, okay, so that's how I found it, and I listed it, and when I originally put the price on it, and you can see there I got an offer for $500, but let me show you, this is actually some comps research right here. So you just go to eBay, you click on the advanced tab. If you're not familiar with this, you just click on advanced right there, and then you search by completed, and it will show you, you know, here's someone who tried to get $1,100. It's black, so that means it didn't sell, but it did sell here for $950. And at the time I originally posted it, there were some people who had sold one for about $1,000. So I started it out at $999.99 or $949.99. Now I knew I wasn't going to get quite that because mine was open, it wasn't sealed, but there was nobody at the time that I had it listed that had it anything lower than that. So that's what I put it up for, and I figured it would give me some negotiation room, stuff like that. Now, I knew I wasn't going to get around $1,000, but I really wanted to try to be, in my mind, above $700, and I felt that was probably reasonable. Somewhere above there, I'd be happy with it. So basically what happened is that you could see here on December 17th, and this is actually the person who eventually wound up buying it, he offered me $500. Now, I want you to put yourself in my shoes for a second, and I want you to think, if it was you and you got that offer for $500, would you have accepted it? And there's not necessarily a right or wrong answer to this. I think what you do in this situation does partly depend on what your personal situation is like. So, for example, if it's crucial that you get that money, and you know, you need it for, you know, day-to-day expenses, and you know, you don't want to take a risk, then you know, no one could really fault you for taking the $500 for it. I mean, it's $500 after all, and it's all going to be profit. But I felt that I had the data behind me to turn this down. Now, I'm not going to deny that it is hard to hit the decline button when someone offers you $500 for something that literally is all profit. But I knew, based on my comps research, that this should command more than that. And so I declined the $500, and that was on December 17th. And then you could see another offer comes in from somebody different. It's a different person. December, when did this one come in? This one came in on December 27th. So 10 days had gone by with no additional offers on the item. So that could make you nervous and say, oh, wait a minute, am I not going to sell it? You've got to be willing to long tail items based on your comps research. Again, if you could afford to do that. And, you know, I could afford to keep those items out there. I like to keep items out there that I long tail. In other words, I'm comfortable letting them sit out there, and I will progressively lower the price a bit each week. Now, for big items like this, in terms of the price range, I don't mind lowering it $50 each week, $25 each week, something like that. So that's what I would do, and I eventually got the price down to around this time frame. I was about $8.50 or $849.99 with the price. So $560 is still about $300 off of that. It's just too far off, so I declined the $560. So then yesterday, now this is earlier in the day, the same person who originally offered me the $500 comes back, offers me $576.99, and then gives me a message that says, I'm not sure how you're going to ship to maintain the condition of the loose cards. I'm interested in the sealed product. To which I responded, just take a look at my feedback. It's 100%. I'm very well known for how I ship things. So go see the comments about how well I pack and ship. And this is a great example of why I talk to you about your reputation is everything when you are reselling. Okay, this person needs to have confidence, right? That's what he's saying. I need to have confidence in you that you're going to do the right thing by sending me these cards in the right condition. So he needs to see positive feedback that shows that I do a good job. He needs to see feedback from people that say if there's an issue that I know how to resolve it. I did a recent video on that, so your customer service has to be awesome. Plus, he also has to see if there's ever any kind of complaint. Let's say there's like a neutral feedback. I have a few neutrals. How do I respond to that? Do I attack the person? Do I call them a liar? Do I make fun of them? Insult them, that sort of thing? You don't want to do that type of stuff. That could instantly turn someone away and you will not make the sale. So I let him know. I was, very polite. Told him exactly how I'd handle it. Try to give him some confidence. And sure enough, half hour before the live show, he offers me the $725. And again, I told you earlier, that's exactly where I thought I'd be in that $700 range. That's where I wanted to be. I knew I was going to lower the price from the $850 that day anyway, so I was going to bring it down to probably $799.99. So the $725 was totally fine. I said absolutely, and he literally paid me within about 5 minutes. So that's how that all went down. Now let me address the issue of some people have brought this up. You've got to be very lucky, or you must be lucky. And no denying, I'm definitely lucky that when I show up to this person's trailer, that he has a bin in it that says Magic the Gathering and has all those types of cards in it. No doubt about it. However, the point I want to impress upon you is that being successful in reselling and in life in general is a combination of luck and hard work. And hard work generates luck. Okay, so for me to get to a position where I got lucky, I had to put this ad together. I had to be creative. I had to be persistent with it, because if you know anything about Craigslist, your ad will sink down every few days. And so I'm constantly in there every few days, refreshing it, making sure it's bumping up to the top. Sometimes I have competitors in my area who are literally trying to delete my ads and flagging it for completely invalid reasons. And so then I have to put it back on. So there's that kind of nonsense you have to deal with sometimes. Then there was the whole issue of just finding a date that worked with this person to get together. I mean, it took weeks to find a day that would work. There was one day we had planned that I was supposed to go there, and then within about 5 minutes before I'm ready to leave to go, he tells me it's canceled because his daughter got sick. So there were all sorts of things, and then there was just now I did find these at the very beginning, but there were lots of other great things I found in there that really required a lot of patience in the cold weather and just to withstand that. I mean, I was in there for hours picking through stuff. There was just a ton of stuff. And so, again, it was a lot of hard work, but that's what generates the luck. So if you keep working at it and you keep hustling, that's going to generate these situations for you just based on probability. The more and more you go out there, the more and more you go searching for things, the greater the chance that you're going to hit something big like this. So these types of things are out there. You may never find this exact type of thing that I found, but you might find something similar to it. Or, if you find something Magic the Gathering related and you want to get some information about it, what I would suggest doing is going to the website TCG Player. I just talked to you about that before and that they're located in Syracuse. And as you can see, you could go on here and you could click on their Magic, for example, and you could click on their Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon and all sorts of different things. And if you click on these different tabs down below, and you could do searches, they'll tell you different things about the cards. And you could sort them, for example, by highest value card to lowest value card. So this is the Mirage series. I typed in Mirage, and you could see here it brings up that the Lion's Eye Diamond card. If that's in there, that's about a $204 card according to them. Now, realistically, that's their price guide value. Price guide values aren't really always the same as what the market is going to bring in all locations. So on eBay, for example, this might be more realistically about $150 card, like you see over here. So, but it does give you just a good sense on which of the cards that are most valuable. Now here you can see there's a big drop off down to a $40 type of card, and then you get into ones that are more like $18, $19, $20 cards. So it's a good way just to get a general sense to look on TCG Player. Another thing you could do is go to magic.wizards.com and you could search for sets this way. And here you can see I brought up the Mirage set already. So you just type in the name. And each of the card sets, expansion sets are identified by a symbol. So you look on the card and you can see for Mirage, it's the palm tree. So every single one of those Magic the Gathering cards for Mirage is going to have a palm tree on it. So you could look this up online. You could find the code symbol for every single set, which would help identify it. If all you found were the cards and you did not have the actual box and you didn't know which set it went to, that's an easy way to figure it out, is look at the symbol of the card. So you could do that. That's another way you could find out information about the cards. And here we'll hit yes, I agree, and I'll go over here and let's see, there is a way here. It will, see, you could do an image gallery and it's see all cards. So you just click that and that should bring up all the cards here in a minute. It's just taking a while to get over to it, but let's see if it shows up here. So so you could just scroll down this way and it will give you a visual image of all the cards and it will tell you information about the card. And there you can see here's a little palm tree here, so it'll tell you some things about it. Now, if you want to find out, like basically get a checklist, because there's 350 cards in Mirage, so if you want to find make sure you have all the cards, what I suggest you do is get a checklist if they were all loose. And here they are right here. This is also on gatherer.wizards.com. So just type into Google the name of the set and then just type in checklist and you'll have multiple sites that bring up these types of checklists. And you could just go through them. It has the name of the card and you could just check off whether or not you have it or not. And so that's an easy way to go about it in terms of figuring this out. But it could take a while. This is something Mrs. Primetime helped me out with, not only with this but with the Ice Age cards. So it was useful if people had questions. Hey, do you have this specific card in the loose deck or this specific card? I could answer that. And so that was helpful to be able to do that, just to have that handy. And I put some of that information into the listing sometime, just depending on how many cards are loose and how much information I feel I need to share to make the sale. So that's pretty much it. I hope you found this interesting, and if you have questions about it, definitely let me know. Always love interacting with all of you, and looking forward to doing that a lot more this year. Again, I'm going to have a lot of you on who are, you know, frequent commenters and fans of this channel. I'm going to be interviewing some of you this year, and that's going to start in February. Remember, January 9th, Rockstar Flipper is going to be on this channel for an in-depth interview. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. Make sure you check out my social media down below in the description section. Make sure you like this video and make sure you subscribe to the channel, especially if you're brand new. Let's get that subscription number up. I have lofty goals this year. It was 2,000 subscribers in the first year. I want to definitely get to 5,000 by the end of 2019, and hopefully more than that. So I can only do that with your support. Thanks very much, and I will see all of you at the next video, everyone. Take care. Good luck in 2019.